It's been a while since I've made any content that's directly related to Legions Imperialis. The channel's mostly just been like photos, videos, stuff like that of the games, but we haven't really been able to do any proper battle reports, and part of that is because Legions Imperialis doesn't really tend well to battle reports on account of being alternate activations. But I thought I'd make a video showing off the latest board. I'm calling it Badlands Outpost, more or less. It basically represents, I don't know, the early stages of a colony for the Imperials. Maybe an exploratory fleet, has just set up here in the past decade, and, most of this is worker habs, but, there's slowly civilization coming into the fold. In terms of games, though, you can see I've got, like, the 6 objectives down there. Here, next to the big building there. The old refinery over here. Towards the back, the looks like a repair bay. Big janitorum, and over here we got the looks like a spaceport. But anyway, the idea here, these are just places we might end up placing objectives, but most games of Legions Imperialis are progressive scoring. So this is more focused towards endgame. So from a narrative standpoint, even though we can't do battle reports, what I like is I can take photos over the course of the game, get really cool stuff in the background. Got the dig site over here. But yeah, if you can imagine, not a video giving the play-by-play of every single activation, but, a collection of 20, 30 pictures over the course of the game, leading to who controls what in the end, right? So you could almost surmise or sum up the entire battle with, okay, by the end, the Imperials held control of the dig site, but they lost control of the Administratum to the traitors. The traitors held firm, over here on the refinery, but they lost control in a flank maneuver of the machine shops. No one held the Janitorum because everybody got wiped out. Someone held the spaceport. You get the idea. But the point is, it would let me play and still do some documentation. I can take photos when I'm not rolling dice, get some nice pictures, and hopefully, you can put 2 and 2 together over the course of the game, who won and why. I wanted to keep this short, but my last little spiel is the problem if you do the current scoring, and you see it too in some of the other games, workshop games, like what they previewed for Horus Heresy 3. The scoring can sort of get away from one side. Someone can get a very big lead, and people tend to tap out, on turn 2 because someone has a lead they just can't come back from. I've started calling it murder basketball scoring, but yeah, this might be something you might want to try if you're wanting a little bit more of a narrative or just more of a laid-back kind of slow burn attrition play. The other thing worth considering is in a normal game, it tends to be pretty much fixed objective locations. In this, we just take turns placing 3 objectives each. So who knows where they end up. It's fun to give the objectives names, obviously, like I was giving, the refinery, the spaceport. It's that extra little bit of immersion that the White Dwarf articles used to have back in the day. But at least if you try this way, maybe you'll be happier with the outcome. I still think something else you might want to consider is if you're doing a big game on a 5x4 or a 6x4, maybe having both sides start with some stuff in reserves so you get, more of a parabola in terms of the peak of the battle. Like it peaks on turn 3 instead of feeling like a really nasty turn 1 or 2 and then it's all over. Anyway, I wanted to keep this short. It's kind of just a rambly video. I wanted to do one a little more flyby of some of the cooler details. Over here, can't quite see it, but I've got like some little Vanguard miniatures guys up on the rock facing there. They're kind of sweeping up spilled slurm spill or some kind of toxic chemical. The dig site over here is kind of cool. They're digging up little green minerals, if you can see there. And, of course, there's the big skeleton in the back. And also, there's this big drop ship. And inside, I've got, like, all the work crew and everyone who's coming out. In the center, you got that giant Grimdark terrain fortress. I don't think we're going to play it as occupiable. It's just going to be a big line of sight blocker, probably. In terms of reading the board in a game kind of perspective, anything that looks like a Civitas building except for that middle guy is likely occupiable. So like this guy here is just a normal building. Same with the big boy. The little hut on the gas over there. Back one there. Big genitorum. Little guy at the back there. One next to the comms bunker. And that little L-shaped building at the back. Those would basically be... Oh, and this guy here. One more here. But yeah, I think there's like 8 or 9. That would be what would count as a building. For simplicity's sake, I think we're going to use the same stat line for all of them. That might be kind of silly given the big guy. And what we tend to do, this is sort of the last point, if at any point these things get wrecked, like this big guy here, we can pull it off and then you've got the area terrain underneath. So if anyone's alive in there, they'd be in there and they'd get some kind of benefit still for being in difficult terrain. I think it's like a -1, maybe a 6 up invul, something like that. But we've done the same over here as well. Not a big area, but, you know, it's only got space for 3 on the roof anyway. Even this middle guy, it's not the prettiest, but it's a workaround for now. Anyway, hopefully we'll be getting the game in on this board the next week or 2. I don't think there'll be a battle board, like I said, so hopefully we'll get pictures and, yeah, hopefully you'll just be able to look at, 20, 30 photos, get the idea of how the battle went. And really, the main goal is you could look at one photo. You could look at the last photo. It would be a nice global shot of the board. And you would see, hopefully... Let me just grab some here. We got reds and we got blues. I'll just grab a red, for example. When you look out over the board in that final shot, you'll be able to see, hopefully, a little flag on each objective. We're probably going to update these to be like loyalist and traitor symbols. But for now, red team, blue team. Anyway... thanks for watching. I'm going to try and get more Legions pertinent content up. They're just an excuse to edit and play with some of the photos. So hopefully what you'll get is cool photos and maybe some more videos. Thanks for watching.
Slurm, it's highly addictive.
Gods of war, may your hammer be mighty.